back to S.H.E.D. Today we're going to be talking about adaptations. So we're going to be talking about three different categories for adaptations. The first is book to movies or TV shows. The second is other, so any other type of adaptations. And the third is franchises.
So for this video, I'm going to let Heidi take over because she is the film major. And if you've watched our previous videos, you know that I am not a movie person. I love reading the books, but the movies that I like to watch are not normally books to begin with. So let's take it over to Heidi so she can tell you about adaptations.
So all of the book to movie adaptations that I'm going to be talking about are quite recent. So to start off, I want to talk about one that has spun a lot of controversy over the internet, especially with the booktubers. The first one is Cassandra Clare's series, The Mortal Instruments, and the first one that I have here is The City of Bones. I own all 6 of them, and I have only read the first 2. So, if you have not been following along with this series and the kind of controversy that's been going on with it, is it was made into a movie in 2013? 2013, Em?
Yeah.
And anyways, the movie was a complete flop. So essentially, they scrapped the rest of the series, they made no more movies, but I think it's the CW network owns the rights to the TV show, or at least to the franchise, and they have decided to make it into a TV show called The Shadowhunters, or Shadowhunters. And the cast has been revealed. They are filming in Toronto, and it's supposed to come out sometime this fall. So we have Kat McNamara as Clary and Dominic Sherwood as Jace, and a few other really cool looking cast members that completely fit the part. They look very similar to the casting choices from the movie, and I'm kind of excited to see it. Now, I personally did not enjoy the movie adaptation version just because I felt that it was so different from the book, and I am really looking forward to see how they make the TV show kind of similar to the book and to the rest of the series, and see how they allow the 6 books to span over either a season or over the course of many seasons. The second adaptation that I want to talk about for the books to movies category is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I picked up this book last year in about April, May, back when the hype for the film was huge. They were doing a ton of press for it. I really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed his writing style, the character development, everything that went on. And when the movie came out, which I have here, I thought it was a really, really good adaptation. I felt that it had stayed faithful to the book, that the things that they did change weren't done distastefully. I thought they removed certain parts just for the flow of the movie to allow it to fit into an hour and a half time span, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Emily Mitchell and I, we went to go see like the midnight premiere, I guess you can call it, the day before the movie was released. It was called The Night Before Our Stars, and we had a lot of fun because there was a live chat afterwards, and that was really cool to see, and to see all of the actors talk about the movie right after we saw it. So I think this adaptation is a really good one. The last book to movie adaptation I want to talk about is The Last Song by Nicholas Sparks. I have the book here. I read the book. I do own the copy that is like the movie copy or movie title because it has Miley Cyrus's face on it. I am a sucker for anything Miley Cyrus, and this was actually my first Nicholas Sparks book that I ever read. Emily loves him. She loves his style. If you saw her book tag, which I will link down below, you will know that she absolutely loves his books. But it was the first one that I had read by him. I wasn't expecting a lot. The book did make me cry. It was very emotional, and I was really hoping that they would capture the essence of the character and how she truly felt without bringing in a super huge star and ruining the character or the book for me. And I thought they did a wonderful job. Now, certain people don't think that. They think Miley Cyrus kind of ruined it, but you know what? I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I also have the movie here. I really enjoyed it. I thought they stayed pretty close to it. They did cut out a lot of the book. I mean, the book is quite thick. It's not a simple book to get through. There's a lot of dense detail that they did leave out of the movie. But you know what? I thought it was a pretty decent adaptation. Okay, round number 2. This is my other, and it is Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. It is one of my favorite classic books of all time, and I absolutely love every single adaptation that I have gotten my hands on. There are a lot that I have not read or watched yet, but eventually I will get to them. This is the original one that I have here, and I want to talk about the film/television adaptations. So the first one that we have is not the 1935, I believe, series or movie that they made. I only own a few of them. But the first one that I have is the 1995 BBC miniseries Pride and Prejudice, starring Colin Firth and Jessica Eel. I felt that this 6-hour, 6-episode series was super faithful to the book. I feel like they captured the essence of Pride and Prejudice. They did such a wonderful job with this series. The locations were beautiful, the costumes were beautiful, the makeup was beautiful, the lighting, everything about the series was wonderful. However, I feel as though I did not connect to the characters as well as in the 2005 Joe Wright movie. This one has to be my second favorite adaptation of Pride and Prejudice. Joe Wright is by far, hands down, my favorite director of all time. He is incredible. This film, I feel like the characters, I fell in love with them over again. I mean, I love them in the original book, I loved them in this miniseries, but the characters came to life. The way that they were portrayed, the way that they made me feel, their emotions, everything about them was so good, and I cannot recommend this movie or this entire series more. Like, oh, I love it so much, and obviously I love it since I own almost everything. The next, and this is my number one favorite Pride and Prejudice adaptation, it is the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. It is a web series created by Hank Green and Bernie Sue, and it is a modern adaptation of Pride and Prejudice. Now you might be saying, what? That's kind of weird. However, it is about the girl Lizzie Bennet, not Elizabeth Bennet, and she is making a web series / web video diary and putting it online. There's 100 episodes exactly of the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, and then there's a few different branch off shows, including Pemberley Digital, which is actually the Pemberley estate which Darcy owns, and in the web series it is the company that Darcy owns, and it is now an actual functioning company where they make more adaptations of other classic novels, including Emma, Frankenstein, and what's another one they did? Welcome to Sanditon, and I think they're working on another one, if I'm not mistaken. It is so amazing that it got so much attraction from viewers online that other companies reached out to them and they made their own book called The Secret Diary of Lizzie Bennet. Not only that, not only did they make one book, they're making a second book, and it is all about Lydia Bennet, her sister, and it comes out in September, and I cannot wait. This is basically a behind the scenes of everything that goes on in the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, and it is just amazing. This entire world that they've created is beyond what Pride and Prejudice is. It's just so amazing, and I highly recommend that you check it out. Yes, it is super time consuming, but go for it. It is awesome. The last Pride and Prejudice thing that I want to talk about is Death Comes to Pemberley by P.D. James. They made this book right here, which is basically Pride and Prejudice but 7 years later. It's amazing. It keeps the essence of the characters. Lizzie has fit into her life at Pemberley, running a house perfectly. There's a little bit of intrigue, there's some murder, and it's just great. The TV show, I believe it's 3 episodes, it's on Netflix. It is also really good, and it is worth the read because there's more detail in the book than there is in the show, but I feel as though the show did a wonderful job of capturing the book, and the book captured the original Pride and Prejudice oh so well, and I absolutely love it. So what spawned this talk of adaptations is it is time to register for classes again, and it got me thinking about this class that I took in second year, and it was actually called Adaptations, and we talked about Frankenstein. It was the subject that we talked about for the entire course, and we started out by reading the original Frankenstein book by Mary Shelley. It is quite difficult to get through, I'm not gonna lie. It's not my favorite book ever, not my favorite story ever, but the entire course was so interesting. So we started out by watching the original Frankenstein movie. I believe it was released in 1943, 46. Anyways, we started out by watching that one, and it is completely iconic, and you can see that directors and other filmmakers have stolen some of their ideas from this original movie. Then we moved on to some newer adaptations of it, including Young Frankenstein, which is not so new, but it was a really awesome adaptation. And then we moved on to Frankenstein by Kenneth Branagh, and don't get me started on Kenneth Branagh. I will make an entirely separate video about why Kenneth Branagh is my least favorite director. Yeah. Okay. We also watched movies such as Frankenweenie, which is a cartoon version of Frankenstein in the style of the dog, bringing the dog back to life. And that one was really good. We watched the TV show The Munsters, and then we started getting into different movies that were made that were inspired by Frankenstein, that had Frankenstein elements, such as AI, artificial intelligence. We watched Blade Runner, we watched Edward Scissorhands, the newest movie, which is called I, Frankenstein, which when I took the course, it had not even come out yet. It was just being released by the end of the year, and so we had to go watch that, and I did not enjoy that one because I felt like it was too distant from the original story. And now that the course is running again, and there's going to be a new movie called Igor, or Igor, however you want to pronounce it, with Daniel Radcliffe as the young Igor assistant, which, if you've read the original novel, he's not even a real character in the novel. I think that one will be really interesting to see because you associate with Daniel Radcliffe with Harry Potter, obviously, and it might be a complete different shift to how the franchise is going. So when you're talking about franchises, there's so many different outlets, and within adaptations, there are also many outlets. And with Frankenstein in particular, what you're getting in this giant franchise is people taking the idea from the original novel, and mostly from the first film that was made about the book, so the first adaptation. People copy that style so much that it is so ingrained in film and within popular culture that you're seeing it pop up everywhere, not only in films directly adapted, not only in films just directly adapted from Frankenstein, but films with a sci-fi effect, sci-fi genre, films that include different monsters and whatnot, because Frankenstein could be considered the original science fiction novel. There were a few others out around the time, but her book, because it was so popular, it really popularized the entire genre and more people began writing in that kind of style. I don't completely disagree with these methods. I actually think it's really great. Big companies like Disney can reach a huge audience, and by introducing a film such as Frankenweenie to the young audience and completely diverse global audience, it gets people talking about the original Frankenstein, which is the original book in the case of Frankenweenie, and people go back and they will actually reread the book and kind of compare to see how they changed it. And I think that's interesting because when a movie comes out and it's a book to movie adaptation, I normally like to do my research and read the original before I see the movie, such as the likes with The Hunger Games, which was a complete disappointment for me. But again, I will leave that for another conversation. So those are the 3 different categories that I wanted to talk about. I'm so sorry that it took so long for me to talk about them. There are so many more adaptations that I would like to talk about, but we can always get to that in another video. So it's time to bring back my sister, Emily! So Emily's back!
I'm back with the magic of editing!
That is right. So before we go, do you have any favorite adaptations or any recommendations or any kind that you personally enjoy?
I enjoy superhero movies, and they all come from comic books.
Those are
so
great.
Watch them.
Yeah, I feel as though in order to truly understand an adaptation, you have to read or be a part of the original in order to fully understand the adaptation, like the movie or the TV show.
The 100 is a specialty series in which the roles are reversed. So instead of going from book to TV show or book to movie, it actually went from TV show to book. So the creator of the idea of the storyline of this TV show actually wrote a book based off the TV show. And I love this TV show, so watch it. The first 2 seasons are out on Netflix. Definitely watch it. It's one of my favorite shows. As you've known, as I've said it in 2 videos.
Yep. And the Vampire Diaries and the originals kind of do the exact same thing. Vampire Diaries was a book series made into a TV show. The Originals is a TV show based off of the original TV show, and eventually it's made into a book series, which I don't even think is written by the original author, L.J. Smith. I think it's a ghostwriter. And at this point, the Vampire Diaries, all the new books that are being released, are also written by a ghostwriter because apparently she writes too slow. And if you know that from the book tag when I talked about her writing the what is it, the Night World series, she is a super slow writer. So let's hope we get some of those novels quick. Are you eating?
I am.
Well, luckily the dog is there for cleanup crew. Okay, so thank you so much for watching our video, our second S.H.E.D episode about adaptations. If you have any recommendations or you want to tell us some of your favorite adaptations, whether they be book to movie or any other type of adaptation, please comment down below, and we will see you next week for another S.H.E.D episode.
Bye.
Bye!